career, right? Jon Jones wins the title in 2011, and from then on has fought more fights as championship fights than he has other fights. So he's the most accomplished.
I remember when I locked on to him as far as static strength goes. I've never felt anybody like that in my life. Here's one memory I have. I'm in his guard, we're working. He grabs both my wrists, and I kind of sit up for a second, and I can't release his grip. He literally scoots his ass out, pulls his ankles behind him, and stands up with my hands.
I want to be undisputed champ because I feel like I deserve a shot at it. That being said, I'm also a professional fighter and I'm not fighting at the moment. That isn't really my fault though. That's more to do with the UFC. They really, really want to make the fight with me.
Jon Jones has officially resumed training, getting ready for a potential showdown with interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall. While the UFC has yet to confirm the matchup, all indications point to a unification fight later in 2025. This would be Jones' first fight since pulling out of the Stipe Miocic bout in 2023 due to an injury, marking a highly anticipated return for the reigning heavyweight champion.
Just showing up for a paycheck, that's not the Stipe of old, that was in his prime anymore. So, I don't think anything special with that performance. I think Jon needs to stop ducking Tom Aspinall, just like he ducked Nagano. He ducked Nagano for years. Now he's ducking Aspinall. So he doesn't want to fight the guys he knows he's getting his ass whooped against. So I don't think anything special with Jon.
Joe Rogan expressed strong belief that the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight is set to happen. On his podcast, Rogan stated, "I believe Jon Jones is going to fight Tom Aspinall. That's what I think will happen." He continued, "Jon is not someone who backs down. I don't believe he's done yet. I think he'll fight Tom and then step away, and that'll mark the end of the Jon Jones era." After reviewing Jones' training footage, Rogan compared him to a conqueror, emphasizing that Jones has never been one to simply walk away.
Like, who is the GOAT? I think if you look at Jon Jones' early career, right? Jon Jones wins the title in 2011, and from then on has fought more fights as championship fights than he has other fights. So he's the most accomplished for sure. Wins the title, earliest, youngest guy to ever win the title in the UFC. Beats Mauricio Shogun Rua, who's a legend. And then the way he dominates all these other fighters, up until you get to Alexander Gustafsson, you could make the argument.
He's a conqueror. He's not the type to sit back, Joe Rogan said while reflecting on Jon Jones' evolution. Rogan pointed out how, at the age of 36, Jones developed a devastating spinning back kick to the body, which ultimately ended the Miocic fight. That spinning back kick to the body he landed on Stipe wasn't something he used before. It's a move he developed later on, Rogan explained. One of the most striking things Rogan mentioned was Jones' natural talent, noting that he didn't take training seriously for many of his early fights. He was partying through it all and was still better than everyone else. His fight IQ is off the charts, Rogan said. If he's training hard now, that's a terrifying thought.
Back kick at 36. Didn't have a spinning back kick his whole career. And then all of a sudden knocks out Stipe with a spinning back kick for the heavyweight title at 36, 37 years old. That's crazy.
Across the ocean, Tom Aspinall continues to wait. After his knockout win over Sergey Pavlovich to claim the interim heavyweight title, he successfully defended it in July 2024 against Curtis Blades in Manchester. Aspinall remains in training, focused and ready, making it clear that he has his sights set on one name, Jon Jones. However, with no official fight date confirmed, frustration is building, especially from his father and coach, Andy Aspinall. "The whole situation is ridiculous," Andy said in a recent interview. "We don't know what's going on, to be honest. The UFC keeps telling us to stay tuned. Tom's been instructed to tell people to stay tuned, and that's all we know." He continued, "We had a meeting with Hunter, and they said that's the fight they want to make, but that was months ago. It's May now, and we still don't have any updates."
Like, people are starting acting surprised. Oh, John's a duck, this, that, and the other. Jon Jones ducked Francis Ngannou for 3 years. Like, don't be surprised that this guy always takes fights where he's at.
That bluntness highlights the growing frustration that Jon Jones and the UFC are unnecessarily dragging things out. Andy Aspinall didn't hold back, stating, "He's a fighter. Fighters fight. I don't know what he's doing. Just say what you're doing and get on with it." Tom Aspinall, on the other hand, remains calm but direct. "I'm in the gym twice a day, like a top-level athlete should be," he said recently. "And I'm just waiting around. I want to fight Jon Jones and become the undisputed champion. But right now, I'm sitting here with an interim belt and no opponent. Aspinall also made it clear that he doesn't want to be left in limbo. I don't want to end up like Michael Chandler, who's been out for over a year waiting for a fight that may never happen. It's honestly a bit of a nightmare, he added.
Matter about Jon, I'm trying to be the undisputed heavyweight champion. That's it. It is the interim heavyweight championship. Does that bother you? I'm currently ranked #1 in the world, which is amazing. Yeah. But I want to be known as the best. I think there should be like one face, one name, every division. I obviously want it to be me, whereas Jon's like doing some weird stuff about it. Problem is the fact that he's sitting on the belt and not doing anything. For me personally,
Tom Aspinall isn't asking for much, just a fair shot. I want to fight Jon Jones. That's it. That's the only fight that makes sense right now. I've defended the interim title. What more do you want me to do, he said. His father and coach, Andy Aspinall, shares the same concern. Tom could fight someone else, but that comes with the risk of losing, and then the Jon Jones fight could disappear forever. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You don't get another chance at that. Meanwhile, Jones has remained largely quiet about the fight's timeline, but has dropped subtle hints, most notably when he posted a photo of his UFC fight poster wall, showing every event he's been part of, except one.
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much.
I'm going to go on record and say it. I think Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. I think the Tom Aspinall fight will happen, and I think Jon Jones submits Tom Aspinall round 2. I said it. Tom can go out and knock out Jon and make me look silly, but I have to see it, Tom. So for right now, I'm riding with Jon Jones. I'm riding with the greatest fighter of all time.
The other big one is obviously Jon versus Tom Aspinall. This week was a funny one. Someone reported that the fight's done, it's got a date, then the next day someone reported the fight's off, and Jon's not taking it. Where do we stand with that fight?
Everything you hear is bullshit until we say it.
So that fight is still the target for both men.
I've said it many times that's the fight that we want to make this year. Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, you said you were super confident. It's definitely going to happen. Are you still super confident?
Still super confident.
I see quite a few people in here calling me a duck. I'm a duck. Call me a duck. Call me a chicken. Call me a goat. Call me a dog. I'm not in high school anymore, guys. A grown man out here chasing his dreams. It's funny that we really live in a world where being called a duck should affect me. Guys, come on.
Engage with the wrestling and engage with the clinch, but I touched him early on and adrenaline kicked in, and I just hawked out the game plan. There's no excuse. He was the better man that night. All the praise goes to him.
What are your thoughts on Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and if they fought, who do you think would win?
Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall have the advantage of the really fast attacks, but if the Jon will be prepared if he will have the good preparation, he will defend every his attack from Tom.
And it's weird how the fan base switches up, because Jon's been on top, #1, 20 years, and then a new big guy comes around, Jon goes to heavyweight.
Think the Aspinall-Jones fight happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against.
Sitting here, if you had to put your money on it, what do you think is the headliner of UFC 317?
If I had to put my money on it, I think they convinced Tom Aspinall to fight Cyril Gane.
Okay,
I think if I had to put my money on it, I think that's the one that's being this far out. Like we're a couple weeks away, and
2 months.
Yeah, we're 2 months out, and I think that they'll throw a number.
Jon Jones that you saw will not be the Jon Jones that fights Tom Aspinall. Teddy Atlas. I had this conversation with Teddy, and I said, Coach, he's not missing. He's spinning around backwards where he can't even see the opponent. I don't think he missed a shot against Stipe. When I spoke to Tom said was watching slow motion. He said, I got all the respect for Stipe, but he was simply too slow, and Jon was too slow. Not one of those spins, not one of those.
Had to put your money on it. What do you think is the headliner of UFC 317?
If I had to put my money on it, I think they convinced Tom Aspinall to fight Cyril Gane. I think if I had to put my money on it, I think that's the one that's being this far out. Like we're a couple weeks away, and
It's 2 months.
yeah, we're 2 months out, and I think that they'll throw a number. Like Tom wants to fight, and he'll be like, all right, I'll fight.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes. Jon is conning the public. The fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year.
Is that fight fucking happening?
The UFC are saying that it's going to happen. I think it's down to him and Dana.
Dana loves Jon Jones.
He's trying to grease up his ego.
Aspinall to me is no difference than an Owen St. Prude or Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith. Be like just another up and comer that's exciting right now. And I'm not into gambling my legacy for what's exciting.
And Jon, if you're not into gambling your legacy, that to me sounds like you scared him.
And the work that he's put in, or lack thereof, I think he could have a tremendous future in the UFC. But the only champion he's ever fought against or beat was Andrei Arlovski, who way past his prime. So it's like you're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. I would say the person that's most deserving, it would be Alex Pereira. Alex has beat many champions. He's knocking out everybody left and right. The type of fights that I'm looking for.